Thank you. If you can please make your way back to your seats. We have some very keen models to show off the new Aline Lacal fashion designer range with crowns by Mr. Korvac Kacharian. Okay, thank you so much. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce our fashion parade for this evening. We have gowns by Aline Lacal fashion designer and crowns by Mr. Korvac Kacharian. His crowns are handmade and his jewellery, and they're absolutely exquisite pieces, as are Mr. Aline Lacal's beautiful designs. Fortunately, we have Mrs. Mireille Zucchi, who has brought these beautiful designs to Australia by Mr. Kacharian for the very first time. Please, a round of applause for the fashion parade. Thank you. Much. What amazing designs. I'm always impressed by Aline Lacal, who happened to have made my Logie's dress for this year. So thank you, Aline. If I can invite Aline Lacal and Mr. Korvac to the stage for thanks. And while we're waiting for them to come up, we have had a bit of a faux pas by failing to thank our founder of the chamber, Louis Falau. So my apologies, and you certainly haven't gone unrecognised. It was a mere oversight with the phone book directory of names that I read out, so my apologies. Thank you, Aline Lacal, fantastic.
Thank you very much. I invite Mireille Zuki, please. This is a small gift from Lebanon to Australia.
Thank you, Kivort, and thank you, Alan. Beautiful outfit on me. And actually, beautiful necklace that you have. Oh my God.
Two flags.
Two flags representing Australia and Lebanon. I'm so proud just to be here on the stage. Thank you, Gina, too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Joseph Asaf, to speak and also to present the Business in Fashion Award. Whilst Mr. Asaf is coming up to give his speech, if I can just give you a rundown of some of the amazing achievements that this man has managed to accomplish. He's known as the pioneer of multicultural marketing. He served as an advisor to several governments and organisations nationally and abroad. He is the founder and chairman of the longest-running business awards in Australia, the Ethnic Business Award. He's the author of the bestseller In Someone Else's Shoes. He's a recipient of many awards, including the Order of Australia and the Lifetime Achievement Award. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Asaf. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. I'm not supposed to be speaking because there's supposed to be a highlight of the 28 years of the awards. As Gina said, it's the longest running business awards in Australia. We've had every Prime Minister and Governor General at least once attending the awards. And the awards ceremony this year will be in Melbourne on the 5th of November in the presence of the Prime Minister. Rather than making a speech, I thought you wanted to ask me a few questions, Gina.
Ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
How the heck did you achieve all that?
Well,
I think we all want to know that.
well, look, my journey to Australia has been amazing, and it was and is the background of what I have achieved. I arrived in Australia in 1967 at the age of 22. It was not long after the 6 Days War in the Middle East between Israel and the Arabs. And the Suez Canal closed for ships. So migrants coming from Europe or the Middle East, they either had to go around the Horn of Africa or they had to take a flight and come to Australia. And I was one of those very first few people who took the flight and came to Australia. But as you know, the Australian authorities always request that you don't bring any germ to the country. So they ask every intending migrants or visitor to have a brand new pair of shoes and not to put them on until you are ready to board the aircraft. So I arrived at Beirut airport, I checked in, they checked my shoes, they asked me to put the new ones on. I did, and an hour later, they told us that the flight was canceled. We were sent back home, and the day after I came, I checked in, and they asked me to put the new shoes on. I said, these are my new shoes. They said, no, they have been used, you can't travel with them. I said, you took my old shoes, and I couldn't go home barefooted. They said, sorry, sir, you can't travel. I was devastated, you know, all your dreams. So I sat in a corner until somebody took pity on me, went beyond the counter, started opening other passengers' bags, until he came across a brand new pair of shoes, different color from my shoes, double the size of my shoes. He gave them to me and he said, put them on and get on board. I did, and I landed in Australia in someone else's shoes. And this is...
Hence the
hence the title, Why in Someone Else's Shoes. So I arrived in Australia, no English, no family, no money. And of course, I was so keen to learn to speak English. I went to work in a factory. It took me 3 months before I realized which one of the languages was English, because no one spoke English in the factory. I asked how many of these people in the country. They said 20%. I said, wow. Who communicates with them? No one. I said, I will be the one. I went during the day to university. I did a degree in social theory, social studies, and I started Australia and the world's first multicultural communication agency. And this agency grew so big, eventually I sold it to the largest group in the world, the WPP Worldwide. And the company and the work took us everywhere, not only to every one of the 200 communities that make up the nation, but quite often to their countries of origin. So not only we influenced them and made them aware of many things, because we worked for everybody, public and private, but also we learned from them. And while I was doing the work, I came across, especially the Lebanese initially, how many people are in business, as the treasurer, Scott Morrison, said earlier. I thought, why I only hear all the bad stories about the Lebanese? Why can't we tell the good stories? And I came across many other migrants from different countries, and they had similar stories. So I decided to create an award so I can highlight and try to showcase the success of migrants without saying words. Let their work speak for themselves. And the awards became so successful that now we have had more than 20,000 people who applied for the awards over the last 28 years. And the awards have been around Australia. We go every year to one capital cities. Last year we were in Adelaide, and the year before we were in Brisbane. We also, in those 2 years, we've had the privilege of having Scott Morrison attending the award. This year we have the Prime Minister. We've had, as I said earlier, every Governor General and the Prime Minister attending the awards. Now, as Scott Morrison said also, I remember in Brisbane, that the migrants have a much higher percentage of self-employers than the national percentage, the national figure. But the Lebanese have double, and they have had double of the national average for the last 5 decades. So that really inspired me to create the awards. And I'm so proud that more Lebanese have received the award than any other communities, in spite of their numbers. And amongst the winners, we have here, I can see Joseph Kairouz, the winner of last year, medium to large. And let's not forget Fadi Zouki, who won the award in 2012. And for those of you who don't know the work of Fadi, Fadi created something from the abnormal and made it normal. Now, I went with Fadi 2 months ago to the US, and he was invited to check some hospitals to do similar things that he has here. And it is shocking. They're still 30 years behind Australia. And Fadi's work, believe me, not long from now, it will be a worldwide feature from Australia, because his work is the work for a genius. And he will be carrying not only the Lebanese flag, but more so the Australian flag with him. Now, if you want me to give my advice to everyone, I normally say, try to always be yourself. Regardless of what they say about you, you know yourself. If you are good, they can read your goodness. And I say in very short, brief words, if you want to see the world through someone else's eyes, stand beside them. And if you want to feel the beats of someone else's heart, embrace them. But to do all that, you need to be blessed. And to be blessed, you need to bless others. And to bless others, you need to love others. And to love one another, we all need to learn how to walk our journey in someone else's shoes.
Now, Mr. Asaf to present the Business in Fashion Award to Alin Lakal and Chalky Malouk. Congratulations. Did you want to say a few words?
It's a great honor to be here in front of you. As a Lebanese citizen, live in Australia, I'm very proud to be here receiving this award. Malouk Shoes has been over 100 years in Lebanon, Tripoli, and now here with pride in Melbourne. We're working very hard to make every woman happy with their shoes. And we're happy to do that for more than 100 years coming. All the best to everyone. Thank you.
Now, we can't seem to locate Mr. Lakal. He's probably backstage there helping the models out of those gorgeous gowns that weigh a bit, they're quite heavy actually. So we'll come back to him and keep moving along if that's okay. You okay with that? Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Asaf.
Thank you.
Now, if I can call to the stage and introduce our partner Bank of Sydney speaker, Mr. Fawaz Sanakil. He is the Executive General Manager for Commerce, and we'll ask him to speak and also to present the Business Women's Award.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fawaz Sankari, the Executive General Manager, Commercial Banking at Bank of Sydney. It gives me great pleasure in being here with you all tonight at such a prestigious event. I would like to congratulate the President of the Australian Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Fadi Zuki, and the board for hosting their 5th Gala Ball. The Bank of Sydney is delighted to once again be involved with this event. The Bank of Sydney shares many similarities with the Chamber. As with the Chamber, the Bank of Sydney is proud of its heritage as well as being a proud community bank. The bank operated in Australia since 2001, and in 2011, the bank's main shareholder, the Bank of Beirut, has supported the Lebanese community, be it the Chamber of Commerce, foundations and charities. The Bank of Sydney recognises and supports the collaboration approach to building a solid platform to keep industry, innovation, education, economic growth for jobs and much more, which this wonderful chamber fosters. As with any non-for-profit chamber, its reliance on membership and sponsorship is needed to ensure that the chamber prospers. Hence, the Bank of Sydney sees enormous value in partnering with this unique chamber. The Bank of Sydney's vision is to be Australia's only true relationship bank. As a bank, we pride ourselves with understanding your business needs and delivering on our promise of being Australia's only true relationship bank and offering first-class service. The bank has 16 branches nationally and offers a relationship manager for every client, which is truly unique and sets the bank apart from our competitors. The bank provides a unique offering of products in residential, commercial, trade and international segment, which aligns the bank with this wonderful foundation. I would like to pass on the Chairman and General Manager of Bank of Beirut, Dr. Salim Asfer, his regards to Fadi Zuki and the board, and wishes the Chamber continued success. I would also like to thank the support of our Board of Directors that are here today, the Honourable Steve Brax and the former Ambassador to Lebanon, Mr Lex Bartlam, and also our Senior Relationship Manager, Lucienne Farage as well. Thank you. Okay, and the Business Award today goes to Afaf. Women's Award goes to Afaf Haddad and Yvonne Yamouni. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And Yvonne Yamouni. Congratulations on the Business Women's Award. Great achievement. We like that.
I just want to say just a couple of things. I won't keep you. The first thing I'd like to say is to thank Fadi Zuki from the bottom of my heart for giving me the privilege of having received this award tonight. This acknowledgement means very, very much to me. I came to this country when I was a child, many years ago, and I studied law. I became a lawyer when it was not fashionable to be a lawyer, and indeed when women were not in great numbers at universities, particularly in the field of law. I was taught with the Sisters of the Good Samaritan, and I remember telling the principal of our school. She asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I'd like to study law. She nearly fell over and she said to me, "You know that there is only one woman who has ever gone to Melbourne University to study law from this school?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "It's very, very hard, and women don't really have a place there." And undeterred, I said to her, "Nevertheless, this is what I want to do." Ultimately, I did get there. I had to fight to get there at the time because women's rights were not really the order of the day. But being my father's daughter, I was very, very tenacious, and I was not going to be told that I was not going to become a lawyer because I had earned the right to do it. I got myself a scholarship in those days. That's how old I am. But after I did that, I taught at Monash University, and that was where I met Fadi. I have heard a number of people tonight talk about human beings and who we are as human beings. If who we are as a human being is defined by sharing and by caring for other human beings, then I know Fadi very, very well indeed. He is a wonderful human being. He helped me at times when I needed the help and nobody else was there, but Fadi came to the fore. He put his money where his mouth was, and he gave me the help that I needed, and for that I will be forever grateful to him. I came from two cultures. I love you with all my heart, Fadi, and I will always treasure your friendship until I'm not here anymore. Thank you, because you are a wonderful human being. Finally, I would like to simply say that I came from two cultures. One of them is genetic, and that's Lebanon. I was born there, and I love them, and I love the Lebanese people, and I love my ancestors. But this is the most wonderful country. They say that nature and nurture have a lot to do with the quality of the human being. And nature came from Lebanon, nurture came from Australia. It is the greatest place in the world to live. No doubt about it. None. None. I got my education here, for which I am eternally grateful. And I owe it to the Sisters of the Good Samaritans who pushed us harder than I ever thought was possible. I earned my law degree, and I urge all of you young people out there, young men and young women, go to it. Be a lawyer, be a doctor, be anything you want to be, because the sky's the limit. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much to our guest speaker, Mr. Sanakil. Now, we have managed to locate Mr. Lakal, who is here, I believe, to accept his award. Yes, and thank you. And Mr. Sanakil will kindly present this award to Lynn Lakal, and it is the Business in Fashion Award. Well done, Aline.
Yeah, I just want to say a quick thank you to Fadi, of course, and Murray, and Bernadette for introducing me to such beautiful people. It's been a long journey to be in the fashion industry. Gina would know this. But we're here, we're working away. Each gown takes about 3 months to bead and make. So my fingers are literally peeling now from making Murray's dress all night. But she looks beautiful, and enjoy your night with this beautiful company. Thank you.
Thanks, Aline. Now, if I can just remind everyone that there are young entrepreneurs walking around with credit card machines. For anyone who would like to register as an annual member, tonight only $150 for an annual membership.